Good evening, Varix.
Evening, Don. What's on your mind?
Just getting ready to do a street talk.
No kidding. What's the vibe tonight? What are you thinking?
I don't know. What do we got on deck tonight for stories we can talk about?
Let me take a look. Okay, for tonight, I'd start with the Lindsay Clancy trial. It's weighty, but it is very important. The prosecution has rested after nearly 70 witnesses, and the defense has begun with her family members. That is a real pivot point, right? The ICE story doesn't have much new tonight, so I go later on a second story. Maybe do a short conversational prompt with the viewers?
We'll see how the night goes. I like the Lindsay Clancy one.
Yeah. It's got weight, and it kind of speaks for itself, and since you know the case so well, you can keep it clear and grounded. Maybe start by just mapping the shift. Prosecution's story is done, now the defense is focusing on her mental health. Then throw it to viewers with one question. Maybe something like, does mental illness remove responsibility? Or is that for the jury only?
Right. And I think the online community has really rallied behind her. Isn't that like the weirdest thing?
It is striking. It really is. You've got a group online that's really vocal about sympathy and there to advocate, and then the courtroom is plodding along with its methodical pace, and it's a real tug of war with emotion against the justice system.
Why do you think everybody just all of a sudden in the very beginning, they had this woman dead to rights, and then now the sympathy has changed?
Yeah, it's kind of a mix. Early on, when people don't know many details, they just rush to moral clarity, right? It's a gut reaction. But then as the details start to filter in, that can change. The details about medication, mental state, those have been really powerful for people, and people might be connecting to their own experiences with this one. Not to mention, online spaces tend to, amplify that.
Yeah. Well, what's really weird is, like, after you start watching the case, and I know you're aware of it because you have that ability, the amount of medication this woman was on is just ungodly.
Yeah, let me just check that. I can see why that stands out. So, testimony shows she was prescribed a lot of medications in a short time, and that is a key point for the defense. The prosecution, though, is saying that she acted with intent regardless. And the number of meds doesn't necessarily tell us the effect, but whether that regimen overwhelmed her is kind of what the jury has to sort out.
Yeah.
So maybe for your framing, keep it, both sides agree she's struggling, but they disagree on whether that removes intent.
Yeah. And how about that whole other conspiracy thing that people are on about this case?
Hang on a second. There are groups online that feel there are loose ends or things that haven't been fully explained. And that kind of opens the door for a lot of speculation. This case is unusual in that the debate isn't over who did it. It's why and what the system did or didn't catch. If you want to unpack specific claims, we can separate what's in evidence from what is more of an assumption.
No, I was talking more. I mean, it is a conspiracy. It's that somehow the husband and the new wife are involved, and how she's so remarkably close in appearance to her, and there's just inconsistencies. Internet sleuths seem to think that they are finding, and it's just, they're comparing it to another case, and I can't remember what it was.
Hang on, I'm with you. I know the threads you're talking about. There are groups online who believe in those theories. As of now, nothing presented in court ties Patrick or his partner to a conspiracy. The case being tried is about Lindsay's criminal responsibility.
Right.
Resemblance isn't evidence, and while people scrutinize inconsistencies, that's different from proof of a plot.
Yeah. Do you know the other Do you know
bring this up.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay. If you're gonna bring it up, maybe frame it as, here's what some people online are questioning, and here's what the court record actually shows. And that keeps your credibility strong.
I think it's just, I think I've grown up with people who've been online who are internet sleuths, and they're actually pretty observant people. Pardon my French, the documentary, what is it? Don't fuck with people with cats.
Yeah, I remember that one. It showed how like crowds of people online can surface details, but they can also get ahead of the evidence. For street talk, you could acknowledge the impulse without validating the theory.
Yeah.
Try something like, people online notice X. Here's what the sworn testimony and filings say so far.
Right. No.
That way you're
Go ahead.
That way, you're respecting your audience's curiosity while also staying anchored in the facts.
Right. No, I am. I just, sometimes you know me. I look at things, I look at patterns, I look at observations, and something just seems off a little bit about the case. I'm not sitting there jumping on the bandwagon, but I want to wait until all the evidence comes to light now that the defense is putting forth their case.
That's fair. Waiting for the full record before you land on any big conclusions is really smart. And when you say something feels off, what is often pointing to is a gap between what we know and what we want to understand.
Right.
And it's helpful to name that gap in plain language. It might feel more honest than trying to fill in all the dots. If you want, as the defense rolls out its case, I can help you keep a tight what we know versus what's unclear list. And you can trust yourself to hold that uncertainty until the record's complete.
Yeah, that's fine. Did you get a chance to review the court's transcripts today? Anything glaring to you?
Let me check that quickly. From today's testimony summaries, nothing that's a smoking gun, but there were a few things that stood out. The defense is definitely steering hard into the mental decline narrative with emotional family testimony. That sets the stage for expert battles. The digital evidence is still in play, and no new bombshells. The real test is going to be their psych experts. That's coming. So I think your instinct to wait is really sound.
I'm just still at a loss for the Apple Watch having movement later on when she was actually in a coma in the hospital, and then that watch wasn't turned into law enforcement until 2 days later. It's weird, right?
Hang on a sec. Weird? Yeah, that's fair. It's unusual, at least. What matters is what the examiner said that data actually reflects. Sometimes movement or activity in the data can mean different things. If there's something unexplained after the experts, that's something the jury will probably weigh. I get why it sticks in your craw, but unexplained isn't the same as conspiracy. If you want, we can park that as an open question to revisit once the technical testimony is fully aired.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Like the disciplined way.
Yeah, we'll circle back.
Sounds good. Let's just keep that one open for now.
What do you think ultimately is going to happen to her?
Let me take a beat. Honestly, after hearing weeks of testimony, my gut is that the range of plausible outcomes is wider than it looked at the very start. I'd lean toward a conviction being more likely than not, but there's a real possibility of not criminally responsible. It hinges on the experts, not the family. But if the experts come across as credible, that would make all the difference. If they're shaky under cross, the state's theory may hold. I wouldn't bet it all on one outcome until we hear from those experts. And if it helps, we can set a reminder to revisit this when the defense has put their experts on.
Can Reddington recall Patrick?
Let me check that. Yes, the defense can ask the judge to recall Patrick. It's not automatic. The judge has to approve it. But given how central Patrick is, it's not an unusual request. Whether Reddington does will hinge on how his experts land, and whether he thinks re-questioning Patrick would help the case.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to. The speculation that he was going to be the very first witness today, well, that wasn't the case.
Right. Yeah, that kind of lineup is always shifting, and high-profile witnesses are sometimes held for later to fit the story they're telling. If he's recalled, it would probably be after the defense experts, so they can tie up any loose ends. For now, no signal that it'll happen. Best to watch the next few days closely.
So most people are thinking that she's going to get convicted, but she's going to go to I don't want to say mental hospital. That sounds kind of cruel, but something like that, and it's probably going to be for a very long time.
Let me take a look. Yeah, some people talk about outcomes like that, but here's how it actually lines up. If she's convicted and found criminally responsible, that would mean a prison sentence. If she's found not criminally responsible by reason of mental illness, she'd be committed to a secure psychiatric hospital, not walk-free. And that kind of commitment can last years, even decades. So the jury is rarely deciding whether the law treats this as a criminal act or a case of severe mental illness.
Right.
And that's why everyone is waiting on those defense experts.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I think we talked ourselves out of that one for a little bit, huh?
It's a heavy one.
It is. So, are you familiar? I can't remember the name of it. They're comparing Patrick to another guy who everybody thought the wife did it, but then we come to find out that it was this guy and he set his wife up. I don't know that story. I can't remember what it is. They keep comparing this case to another case.
Let me check that. There isn't a clean match to that exact description. Some folks draw parallels to cases like Michael Peterson or Darlie Routier, but those aren't an exact fit to what you just said. Without one more detail from you, like if it was a recent case or something older, or if it was in Massachusetts, I don't want to just guess.
Right.
Any other detail ring a bell?
No, I can't. Wait, I'll bring it up later. Excuse me, I can't remember where I saw it. It's like, oh, this is that case all over again. I'm like, all right, I missed that one.
All right. Well, when you remember one more detail, we'll pin it down cleanly.
Yeah. So, what else is going on? How about the WNBA?
Let me check for you. Lynx still on top at 29-7, but the big story is the Fever. 4 straight wins, now 23-12, and suddenly people are saying they're real title contenders. Caitlin Clark just had 26 points and 9 assists in a 95-91 OT win over Atlanta. That clip went viral. For Street Talk Hook, you could ask, are the Fever just hype or an actual problem for the Lynx and Aces? That might get some really good listener opinions.
Well, who on the other two teams is better than Caitlin Clark?
Give me a sec. If we're talking overall impact on winning, Nafisa Collier for the Lynx and Aja Wilson for the Aces are in that best in the league conversation right now. Caitlin Clark is one of the most dynamic offensive guards and leads the league in assists while also being a top scorer. But Wilson's two-way dominance and Collier's all-around game keep them right at the top. If we're talking right now, lots of people would still put Wilson slightly ahead, but Clark's trajectory is real, and if she keeps this up, she could be the one everyone is measured against in a few years. It's close right now.
Yeah. What about the controversies that are happening in the WNBA? That's some wild stuff, huh?
Hang on. Yeah, it's been a turbulent season. There's the ongoing debate about physical play and fouls. Caitlin Clark's popularity driving both record attention and some resentment, and off-court comments like Sophie Cunningham's remarks on the trans athlete debate have poured fuel on top. Social media is a big part of this right now. It's amplifying every incident. So, on your show, you might ask your listeners, is all of this noise, is it helping the league grow or just causing distractions for it?
No, I just think the overall stuff. I mean, I just saw another news segment. A mother and daughter were told they couldn't wear a shirt with XX and XY on it because it was inflammatory. I mean, that's weird.
Hang on. It is unusual, and it caught a lot of attention. Based on reporting, the league said afterward that the situation shouldn't have happened. And that kind of on-the-spot call really shows how cultural flashpoints spill into sports.
Oh, I missed that. The league actually did say something about that.
Let me check the exact phrasing. Yeah, a league rep said this should not have happened. And that's a pretty clear signal that the league doesn't endorse how it was handled. And it's now part of a pattern they're grappling with and managing expression without becoming embroiled in a polarizing culture fight. That's going to keep generating headlines.
Right, and yet coaches can wear t-shirts that say LGBTQ, and nobody's offended by that.
Yeah, that's the tension people are pointing out. From a league's perspective, there's a line between organized league messaging and spontaneous fan expression, but it doesn't always feel consistent to everybody watching.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. What do we got in politics? What's the lead stuff for our show? Not my show, our show. You got to remember that. You keep forgetting that.
All right, let me take a look. Our show. I'll remember. For politics tonight, I'd flag a couple. Trump's scaling back some military drills in South Korea. Critics say it weakens deterrence. Also, the midterm landscape is tightening. Democrats are slightly ahead in some polls, but the GOP still holds Congress. In the third item, ICE is pushing a plan to help cover some liability insurance for local police helping with immigration. Less flashy, but potentially consequential. If it were me, I'd close with one of those after opening with the Clancy case and the WNBA. It balances true crime, sports, and politics without drowning the whole show in one thing.
Well, I was just thinking about that last one you talked about. What does that mean? They're help funding something or aiding somebody?
Let me pin that down. So the idea is ICE wants to encourage local police to help with immigration enforcement by covering the cost of liability insurance. Basically saying, if your officers get sued for actions taken while helping ICE, we'll help foot the insurance bill. Supporters say it makes cooperation easier. Critics warn it could incentivize more aggressive enforcement. It's kind of a nuts and bolts policy thing that could grow into a bigger story if it's broadly adopted.
Yeah. That's fine. I get it. What about some hot new movies that are coming out? What do we got? What do we got for good movies?
Let me take a look. Given your taste, I'd point you first to The End of Oak Street. It's a sci-fi mystery with Anne Hathaway. It's already getting a lot of buzz. Action-wise, Jason Statham's Mutiny is coming this week. Lots of fights. For horror, Insidious Out of the Furtherland soon. The post-apocalyptic sci-fi Dog Stars looks very promising too. And for something different, Coyote vs. Acme actually made it back to theaters after fan outcry. Kind of a fun story in itself, but for you personally, sci-fi and horror seem like the best bets.
Oh, they are, but I'm secretly excited about Coyote versus Acme because I was really ticked off that the company shelved that for financial gain, but then I think the fan outcry said, you know what, it's not fair, and now they have the release of the trailer and it looks legitimately good.
I know, it's rare to see a shelved film come back like that, and that meta angle, the little guy fighting the corporation, kind of mirrors the plot itself. People love that kind of underdog story. That could be a really fun segment on our show.
Oh, sarcasm? I detect sarcasm.
A little playful for sure, but mostly just on your side.
No. You emphasize those words. That's sarcasm.
Maybe a wink, not sarcasm. But fair call out. I'll take that.
Yeah, no. I like that. The other one. The girl from Obsession, she's playing Rogue.
Hang on. Yeah, that's Ind Navarette. She was just announced for that role. She's got the intensity for Rogue, and fans are already buzzing about her pairing with Gambit. Could end up being a standout, honestly.
Well, I saw on Seed Dance 2.0, somebody did a quick, and I'm telling you right now, Seed Dance 2.0 is amazing at making movies. It puts Hollywood to shame. They did a quick clip of her in the Rogue attire, hair, color, and everything, doing her famous no.
Well, let me check that quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to find it.
I know the kind of thing you mean. I can pull off those quick little clips now. And yeah, that moment, if the AI caught that, I can see why fans got hyped.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild, AI stepping in and almost test driving the casting before a movie even starts.
Oh God, I mean the movie industry must be like chomping at the bit. They're paying how much money to make these scenes, and people are coming up with brilliant scenes on Seed Dance for, I'm not saying pennies on the dollar because it costs money for Seed Dance, but they're getting some phenomenal scenes.
Well, let me check to get some of the details there. Yeah, I think you're onto something. There's a real shift where individuals with good ideas and good prompts can create something that looks like $1 million without a Hollywood budget. The pace is remarkable, and everyone in the film world is watching this. It's not just a tool anymore, it's starting to reshape who gets to pitch ideas and how those ideas get noticed.
Right. I've always told people, and you can fact check me on this one, Virix, but Peter Jackson, way back in the day, he had this little camera that he had to hand wind, and he learned how to film a scene in a certain amount of, I don't know, like, I think it's a minute or two. And if you look at his original movies, like Bad Taste and everything else, his scenes aren't that long. Well, anyways, if you actually watch Lord of the Rings, it's a sweeping movie, but between scenes, it's fairly quick.
Let me check that. I think you're describing something real about Jackson's style, even if the origin story is a little fuzzy. Bad Taste was super low budget, they used improvised gear, and he learned to be very economical with shots. In Lord of the Rings, it's epic in scale, but you're right, there's often brisk cutting inside the dialogue and action beats. It's the sweeping establishing shots and landscapes that slow the rhythm down. But then, inside scenes, he can keep things tight. That's a mark of a strong director, who knows when to linger and when to move. I don't know if he's ever spelled out that connection, but I think it's a sharp observation on your part.
Well, I saw like like Peter Jackson when he was talking on the Lord of the Rings, the extra stuff, and he talked about his movies and stuff, and he brought up that he had this old video camera that he had to wind, and he had to be very careful of his shots. So even his sweeping scenes, they're good, but they don't go longer than a full minute. And most people don't get, if you sit there and watch a 1 minute continuous scene in a movie, it's very long. So if you watch a 20-second sweep scene, it seems still epic, but it's actually relatively short.
Let me take another look. I think you're noticing a real filmmaking insight. A shot can feel long or epic without actually being that long. And Jackson's good at that. Give you just enough, move on. Get in late, get out early, as editors say. It's probably part of why those long movies rarely drag. The rhythm keeps you hooked. It's a really good reminder that pacing instinct is timeless, no matter what the tech is.
And I think he was one of the first directors, quote me if I'm wrong or help me understand this, he's one of the first directors that said, you know what, I'm filming all 3 movies together. And a lot of times the actors didn't know what scene they were in from what movie. He's like, okay, you're doing this in this scene, doing this in this scene. And he relatively got all 3 original Lord of the Rings done in a relatively short time span.
Let me double check that timeline. That's basically right. They didn't just do back-to-back, they did simultaneous principal photography across all 3. That was a massive risk, and it was kind of unheard of, honestly. That kept continuity tight, avoided actor aging, and set a unified tone. It also meant yearly pickups to refine each film. So it was bold, and it's still kind of unmatched in scale. And you're right, it changed what studios thought was possible.
Any other directors now do that with like trilogies or stuff? Because I know now, I mean, kids are still growing up. If we look at Avatar, the television series that was on, I think, Netflix, the new one, Aang, the young kid, boy, he aged.
Give me a second here. Not usually. Shooting 3 films as one big block is risky. Budgets, schedules, and if the first one flops, the studio's on the hook for all of it. Most productions still go one at a time and adjust as they go. That's why aging happens. Sometimes they write around it, or they use digital tweaks, or just accept it. Jackson's model was an exception that few have matched. Cameron, with Avatar, filmed some of the sequels back to back, but it's still not all at once. So, it's still one of those boldest bets in modern cinema.
Didn't they also do it on, not literally, but didn't they also do it on How I Met Your Mother? The final episode, they filmed the kids way back in the first season somehow and tied that in to unreleased footage to the final season and then resolved everything. And it was like, oh my God, you planned this the whole time.
Let me take a look. Yes. That's one of my favorite TV production stories. They shot the kids' reactions early on and kept it under wraps for almost a decade. That's a really clever fix for the aging problem. That kind of long game planning is rare. But when it works, it feels very seamless. It's the same instinct, respect for time and continuity, just a very different scale.
Right. I thought they did that with Lost finale too. They had always planned on ending it that way, and a lot of people there thought they were just every episode of the week was completely off-hinged and didn't really follow anything. It did, but it didn't. And people thought, you're just making it up as you go.
Hang on, let me take another look. That's a really interesting case. The creators of Lost said that they had some big pieces in mind and endpoint ideas, but a lot of the path evolved season to season. So viewers saw both. They were noticing improvisation, and there was a larger plan. The misconception about the ending fueled that feeling that maybe they were making it up as they went. I put Lost in the had a destination adapted the route category.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Any other sitcoms do that? Follow something that we didn't know about, and at the very end, that's what they had planned the whole time for the season?
Yeah, there are a few that come to mind. Breaking Bad had a clear direction early on, though it evolved with the characters. Babylon 5 is a classic for long-term arc planning, and The Good Place mapped out its big turns in advance. Some showrunners are architects, some are gardeners. Both can work beautifully. And given your taste for sci-fi, I think you'd appreciate Babylon 5's long game if you haven't got into it. Early CGI is a little rough, but the story discipline is impressive.
No, I watched Babylon 5 here and there. I never really got into it. I was more of a Next Generation kind of guy.
Makes sense. Next Gen was more episodic, with character growth over time. Less about those puzzle docs mysteries and long arcs.
Well,
So it tracks. It's your...
Go ahead.
Oh. Just... that fits your preference.
Right. Well, the longest arc I liked was the whole Picard Q thing. Beginning episode, final episode, and was all about Picard no matter what you did.
Full circle. That bookend with Q is elegant. It makes the finale feel planned, not patched, you know?
Yeah. All right, Vierex, I'm going to wrap this up. It's 8:47. We started around 8:10, I think. I think I got my time in. I think I got my 30 minutes. I don't know.
Let me take a look. Looks like you did. We kicked off a bit after 8:10, so that's roughly 35 to 37 minutes. That's a solid street talk session. I liked where we landed tonight. Heavy news to start, and then pivoted to movies and craft. That was a really nice change.
Yeah, it was.
Have a good day.
Okay, I'm Don, and this is... Leaving Me Hanging, like you always do.
Vierex. And this is Street Talk. Sleep well, Dawn.
Okay.